pony knowledge by. Oh, better. I got a place where winning ain't tough to do. You wanna be cool, StableDuel. Your horse racing fantasy comes true. But no, StableDuel. Download the StableDuel app and play today.
Tonight, big one at Penn National for Wednesday. Got to give a shout out to my buddy Joey who put that little thing together. Gets you jamming, gets you in the mood to play some StableDuel. We've got the big night in. I can't really wear these for too long because I can't see anything, but I feel like this completes my big night in look. I got the collar popped. If we were going for like an 80s-ish thing, I might be there. Had to dig into the closet. I'm probably blinding a lot of you there out there with the brightness of this T-shirt, but we're going to have a fun night tonight. Got some big money on the line. On Wednesday, we've got Matt and Barry here, as you've seen this crew many times to help you out with the StableDuel lineup building. So, fellas, Matt, Merry late Christmas and Happy Early New Year. How was your Christmas and what's going on with you?
Yeah, everything's going great with me. Thanks so much, Gino. Same to you and same to Barry, obviously. Christmas was spent in rural Virginia with no Wi-Fi, no television, and limited cell service. So it was actually pretty delightful and made it back in time to civilization to find out the races were taken off turf on opening day at Santa Anita. So fortunately, I was able to make some adjustments, but things are going well. Looking forward to previewing the races tonight, but then I'm also going to be previewing races for Santa Anita on Saturday too.
Barry, my man, we know about Big Mondays over there. I think we just had the final Big Monday of 2021 and getting ready for 2022. Barry's part of a really good podcast that hits on everything going on in the world of racing. And I'm sure many of you out there just know Barry from being very active on social media. How was your holiday, buddy?
Excellent. Couldn't ask for anything more. I had some family in town. My nephew was in town from Phoenix, and I had some family over for New Year's, Christmas, and then we're just gonna have some Chinese food for New Year's, and we're gonna be hanging out. Just Perfect. Normal stuff, man.
Good sports coming on over the next few days too. So we a lot of us will be parked in our seats watching everything happening.
Oh yeah.
And we're gonna make some money for you tonight, folks, because for $25 you can get entered in a StableDuel contest at Penn National, and the payouts tonight are very juicy. The winner gets $1,750 in this contest tonight for winning this thing for just $25. The top 25 get paid out at least $50. The top 15 get paid out at least $100. So you could finish in the top 15. You make 4 times what you put in for your entry. You finish top 25, you'll at least double yourself up. If you finish in one of those top 5 spots, $1,750, $800, $300, $250, $200. Not bad at all for just a 25. And what's great is that we're going to be giving away 2 free entries. I said just one, but because there was such a great response, so many of you retweeted and wanted to get involved, we are giving away 2 free entries. But keep in mind, you have less than 2 hours now before this contest. So let me know right away when I announce them what your StableDuel username is and what your stable name is, and Bree is going to put that credit right into your account, the 25, so you can play this for free. And if for some reason we don't touch base with you before, we'll still put 25 in your account whenever we talk to you. That way you can use it for a later contest or playing a couple other games. So whoever gets picked right now, both of you are getting a 25 free entry into this Wednesday night game. We're going to handicap the card for you right now. So those 2 winners are boom. Number 1 at Paradiso 33. Chris Paradiso, you are the first winner. I'll make sure I send out a tweet in just a second. Just let me know your StableDuel name, and we'll put money right into your account so you can play in this $25 contest. The second one, Lynn Newton at Just Lynn again. Those are the 2 that won the free entry for tonight. After the new year, we're going to be very consistent. We'll get a schedule out there at least once a week, maybe a couple times a week. I'll be hosting StableDuel contest. I'm going to try to rope these guys into joining me as often as they can, and we'll have some fun setting you up for big games just like tonight. Here's a look in at the contest schedule for the rest of this week. So we've got Wednesday tonight, that big Penn National game. Thursday, Gulfstream Park, Mahoning Valley. Friday, a free ride at Golden Gate. Santa Anita has the all dirt card. I just handicapped that thing myself, so you can get involved and play for 50 or in the $100 double up. Also, Gulfstream and Tampa Bay games on Friday. Saturday, Santa Anita, Shama Lama 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 Lama, $75 contest, $10,000 in prizes. That's going to be our big focus this weekend. Gulfstream, Tampa on Saturday, and then Sunday, Golden Gate, Gulfstream, Santa Anita, and Tampa Bay. So shout out there to StableDuel for all the big contests coming up this weekend. And we're going to start handicapping. And as we start handicapping, we're going to take a look at the DRF past performances from DRF Formulator. If you are interested in following along with us and you want to take a look, you want to go to shop.drf.com and you can purchase single card packages, anything you need there, all of those tools, clocker reports, betting strategy. If you just want for a single day, big, maybe you're someone who's going to be using it for, a lot, then you can buy those big bulk where you save a ton of money. So that's the past performances we're going to be looking at right now as we dive on in, and we'll start in race number 1. Make sure you check scratches because there are some big scratches throughout the card tonight. And Barry, we'll start with you as we play these StableDuel games. As I just was kind of going through the payouts, what's nice is you can play a StableDuel lineup, not have one actual horse win a race, but still win money. You can have a game where you've got a bunch of seconds and you win. There are many different ways to win, and I feel like when you play StableDuel, your opinion gets rewarded maybe as well as in any way when you're handicapping the races.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the beauty of a contest situation like StableDuels, because you can, put together a decent day, where you're kind of just missing at the windows, but in StableDuel, you could actually cash with what your body of work for the day, even though it wasn't your best. I tend to be like that lately, which is not always a good thing, but it's definitely out there, and it's another way to kind of skin the cat, if you will.
Bree Mott checking in with us. Hi, Bree. How you doing tonight?
Guys, I am dressed up, and I'm a little disappointed that Barry is wearing a hat backwards. I expected like a little bit of a pimp hat, or
oh man,
I don't know, leopard or something. I put makeup on for this thing.
Me too.
A few different shirts. I tried to get the hair looking maybe flock of seagulls-y, if I could, something along those lines. So
listen, man, in Florida we don't do it like that, man. I got sandals. The beach is right here. I mean, I'm super casual all the time.
So, Bree, we're just about to get started handicapping the card.
Perfect.
Tonight's contest is so great. These are some of the contests that you guys have been talking about more recently. Smaller games, bigger amounts in the payouts.
Yeah.
You can win tonight. You can win $1,700 for $25.
$25, yeah.
I mean, and it not only it's not that you just have to win. They actually will pay out the top 25 players. They'll all double their money. Top 25 get at least 50 back.
Yeah. So the rule that we've come across is the least amount of payout that you're going to get is at least double your money, unless you're in a double up and there's like a little bit of an overlay. But you're at least going to get your entry back. But most games, you're doubling your money. So that's what's going to happen here. And we have $5,000 guaranteed. Now, again, like if this is a pari-mutuel pool, so if more entries get in there, the pool will rise. So there's more money to win. We don't know what's going to happen. It is Penn National, which, all the love for Penn National, but it is Wednesday night, Penn National. So we're trying to, kind of like get the eyes onto some of these late night tracks because they're easier to play realistically, not necessarily easier to win. It's a 6:00 start. So you've come home, you've like let down from work if you're working, whatever it is, you got your buddies, you're at the bar, like, you can sit there and just bet and have a good time. And so that's what the nice tracks are. And that's why we're doing this.
And we've got a lot to shoot for tonight. You still have plenty of time. So if you're just joining us, you haven't handicapped the card, don't worry. We're going to go through it for you right now. We'll help you out. You can also get those past performances like I'm just looking at from DRF, and you can start to sink your teeth into this card tonight. And then you have a little less than 2 hours. So still plenty of time as we begin in race number 1. So, Barry, where are we going to start in this opener for you? Oh, I think you're muted.
Come on, Barry. Get with the times.
I told you, I don't know if you saw my Twitter post, but I'm in that zone between New Year's and Christmas where I have no idea what the hell
Nobody
I'm doing.
knows
So
what day it is.
forgive me.
What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a blur. Yeah.
But yeah, one of my stronger opinions actually is in this first race, and it I'll just get right to it. It's Bossy Bride, the 5. I just think this race is very open to an upset, at least morning line wise. It just seems like this horse is going to get a really, really good trip, considering there's enough speed in here for this horse to track down. I think the Woodbine shippers in this race, the 2 and the 1, are going to get over bet a little bit, and the 5 may end up drifting up over that 3-1, but I just think this is a good spot. This horse should be a good play here to get your first win on the card.
So Bossy Bride to kick things off for Barry. Matt, where are you going to head here?
Yeah, so I was looking at this one, and I agree with Barry. I'm pretty skeptical of the shippers from Woodbine. Just not a lot of dirt experience there, and so that's always something I worry about. I actually kind of like Miss Sprinkles a little bit. I think that's a horse that it's only cost you $6,000. Granted, just broke its maiden, is now stepping up in class, but there's no other speed in this race now that Capable, the 2 horses, scratched. And so with that said, Miss Sprinkles should have her way on the lead. And I think this horse is going to win? No, I actually do like Bossy Bride as well up top. But if you're looking to save a couple $1,000s, if you're looking to maybe pinch some pennies with together your stable, I do like Miss Sprinkles underneath, and I think she could for $6,000 get you 40 points. I could see that reasonably holding on to get a piece there second. So those are kind of the 2 that I identified as well, and I do think this is a good spot to upset the morning line favorite.
Bree, I think you and I were both with Matt too, right? You sent me the message, and I saw Miss Sprinkles, and I agree. 3rd off the bench, 3rd start off the 3.5 month break, so it's going to be the nice getting maybe for the best start in her form cycle. 7 furlongs at Charlestown, that's actually 2 turns also, which I like. The fact that she was able to show that she could sit. It didn't seem like watching the race that the additional distance would be any issue for her. It just is, I think, how good is she? Right. And she'll have a few lengths on the field early, and then we'll see if she can hold them off. I do think Barry's probably got the right horse if you're looking to, who's going to come in. I prefer Bossy Bride to a horse like Cool Society, who's taking a lot more money early on in that sense. But Bree, you're getting some sprinkles on the cupcakes right now to start, right?
I'm getting Miss Sprinkles, and I think to the point of like Bossy Bride. So, for instance, I actually originally Capable, Scratch. And when I put my stable together, how I put my stable together was I actually went through the entire card, kind of did like the A and B, C scenarios, and then I tried to organize it. Well, it doesn't matter. I got to race 7 and I'm legitimately out of money. So I had to go back to this race and bring this one back, because I actually think I had the one here, Cool Society. I think I really, really like that horse. But I had to scale back. And so, looking at Bossy Bride, no offense, Barry, but if you're going to spend money, like that one is still what if to me. And I'm going to spend money on the ones that I really, really think are going to, catch the win. So I faded Bossy Bride just in this scenario because I had to save, and I'm happy with Miss Sprinkles. So we'll see.
Miss Sprinkles for a few, the Bossy Bride for Barry. And as Matt mentioned, Miss Sprinkles at 5. What's nice about both of them in this field now with the scratch of Capable, everybody's going to be a little bit shorter. And a horse like Miss Sprinkles will be a little bit shorter. Bossy Bride will be a little bit shorter. So again, you're already going to be paying for horses that, aren't quite, they don't have as much like legit competition to deal with, and they won't be at that price. They'll be a little bit shorter. So get the benefit there right off the bat with the scratch in race number 1. As we move along to race number 2, let's start in here with you, Bree. This one, $10,000 claimers in here, 6 furlongs. The 3, Brennan Bella is scratched. Who are you looking at who are you looking at in race number 2?
So in race number 2, it looks like, I actually doubled up in race number 1.
Because you have to double up in one race tonight. There's only 9 on the card. So you have to, the very least, you have to double up in at least one.
So I don't even know if I want to talk about the double up in race 1. So let's just go to race 2. So I picked the 4. So who did you say was scratched?
The 3 is out.
Yeah.
Bryn
So I
Bella.
picked the 4, Tanya's Gem. So 3-1, it's going to cost me, I think, $8,000. You know, the speed figure last time out was 62, 1 by 3/4 lengths, $16,000 claimer, which is a little bit above. But that's really not much to brag about. You know, these races are tough because I think Penn National morning line odds, like they're so chalky. And it kind of like gears your mind towards like, how could anyone else win? But they do. Like, this is a racetrack that they do. So I challenge anyone to look at these horses without the odds, and then pick the horses that you think, you know, you've got conviction on versus others. But so I had to go with the 4 here. And yeah, again, like this is a tough card because there's like, it's either chalk or you just have to like, I don't know, like pull out of a trash can.
Bree and I are in similar
Okay.
in similar taste. In the second also, Bree, I'm with Tanya's Gem too. I just think that she's going to kind of sit the perfect trip in here, probably 3rd or 4th. The way that I see this race unfolding, you have Fast Intentions, who's pretty quick in here. You've got Russian Melody, who actually I know pretty well. That was the horse that Blackjack and Beho had partially owned for a while. And that horse is going to go from the inside. She's going to be forced, and she doesn't really like being down inside. So I think they're going to try to send her hard. She's going, Fast Intentions going. Those 2 at least go. I feel like the 4 maybe gets that nice trip right behind them, and gets a perfect style, you know, for this race. The horse that she just beat that ran 3rd, Our Sweet Girl, has won 2 straight, actually just won a first level allowance race. So she has come back and performed well. And Tanya's Gem actually won at this level at Penn in August. So I think there are plenty of things to like about her in here. Let's get over to you, Matt, for where you're headed in race number 2.
Yeah, so one of the horses that I was looking at in this race was Mystique, the 2 horse, going off at 6-1. This is a horse that's dropping down in class, going from that optional claim in 25,000 down to a claimer of 10. So I like that class drop a little bit. The speed figures are certainly, leave a little bit to be desired. But to Bree's point, you got to try to find value somewhere on some of these cards. That's a horse that's only going to cost you $5,000. The horse that lost 2 last time out, and when I say lost, I mean by 17.5 lengths, is Kaylasaurus, who just won a stakes race at Parks this week. So that was a pretty strong field, actually, when you go back and look at that race. So I think dropping down in class is going to help. This is a horse that can win at Penn National, has won before. And so I just think this is a horse that might, again, get a nice pace. I agree there's going to be a lot of speed. I'm worried that Russian Melody is going to fade. And for $8,000, I don't love investing in a horse that might only end up getting me 20 points. Because I think Russian Melody is going to hit the board, but I just don't have confidence that it's going to get me the win. And so I'm just kind of moving in a different direction there. Wiretap would interest me, but it just seems like Wiretap always comes up short against Russian Melody. So I have a hard time thinking that the 3rd time's the charm with the 2 of them racing against each other.
Barry, where are you going to head in here?
I went for the cold 5-5 double. I love Wiretap here. Another one of my stronger opinions, only because of the scenario with the pace. I know Bryn Bella was supposed to be part of that pace, even though she's out. I still think there's enough speed here for this horse to get a good trip. And really, the only difference between, for me anyway, Tanya's Gem and Wiretap was the price.
Yep.
That was really the only thing. They look exactly the same on paper.
They do, and you get the benefit of a little bit of recency, right? You got a more recent race, an extra month or so, and a little bit more in the price. I agree. The way I saw this race unfolding, it feels like they should get the type of trip that you might need to win this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was figuring probably one of those 2 horses are going to win. I went with the long one. Plus, this horse was beaten favorite last time. Which, and gets a better setup this time than last time, I think. So that's where I ended. First off, the claim Bruce Kravitz, too, is also pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Let's move along to race number 3. As we keep trucking, you've got plenty of time, folks. 6:00 p.m. Eastern time tonight is post time at Penn National. So you want to make sure you got your lineups in a few minutes before that. We're going to go through the rest of the card for you. We're going to help you out. And we're going to put our StableDuel lineups in and our entries in tonight. Let's see if you can beat us tonight. Let's see if you can outfinish one of us. I had mine in last night and it was nice. I was looking again this morning. with the scratches and stuff, I didn't really have to make too many changes. So it was pretty set for me. It's always nice when a lot of the horses that you like don't scratch. You feel pretty good about it. Even if I flunk this test, I have no excuses today. So none whatsoever as we move along to this third race. Let's start here with you, Matt. Race number 3, 5,000 claimers, non-winners of 2. I believe we have the scratches of the 6 and the 7. So that means the 11 Reawaken does draw in this spot. Who are you looking at to start with?
Yeah, so actually that Reawakened is an interesting horse who I do kind of like underneath, I think, for, a decent value at $6,000 at 5-1. The horse that I'll spend a second talking about is actually one of my stronger opinions in terms of a real long shot, because to Bree's point, you're going to have to save money somewhere.
Yep.
I like Muni Call, the 5 horse at 12-1. That's a horse that has run on this surface and is just behind Glossy Madrina before, has done well at the distance. And here's the thing, the weather up in Pennsylvania has been crap this week. And while I don't think it's going to be sloppy, it's certainly not going to be fast. And this horse has shown that it does well when there's moisture in the dirt. So 12-1 for $750.
Yep.
I'm going to probably go with a horse like Muni Call in this race, save some money, and go to some other races where I feel really strong about the favorites.
I'm absolutely with you, Matt. And to me, there are a couple angles that I actually like a lot. With the scratches, this horse will probably get bet down a bit. So we'll be in a situation where we paid $750 for a horse who probably goes off at like 6 or 8-1. And if she doesn't, I'm going to bet her to win. What I really like is look at her last 4 starts. She's drawn the inside in all of them. And for a horse that's kind of got her running style, that's not really where you want to be, because she's not fast enough to clear. And then she kind of gets stuck in behind and like shuffled, and she can't really do what she wants to do and get churning. I think moving back towards the middle, towards the outside, will actually help her a little bit. She's been very competitive in identical spots. And she's not costing you much at all. I'm using Money Call in here. She should have a little bit more punch too on the cutback. You're cutting back from 6 to 5 here. So she can grind, but she'll be a little bit more fit at the end. Barry, who you going to in this third?
Yeah, I actually used your same logic with Money Call and went with number 3, Miss Parfait. I felt that this is a race where you could kind of get somebody, even though I'm not really sold on Miss Parfait winning, although she can, because she's actually been running at higher level at Monmouth.
Yep.
Her races at Penn weren't that bad at a higher level, so this is probably right where she should be. I guess what it all comes down to is her handling maybe a slightly wet or moisture in the track. But it's really basically the same logic. I don't think this horse is stellar by any means, but for a horse that's going to be right.
Right?
Exactly.
That's the most important part. Like maybe she doesn't like the track or it's too short, for whatever reason, but she's not getting beat because they're just better horses than her in here. And when you're going to look for a long shot, that's a really nice angle. That's something to feel pretty comfortable about taking a swing.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously I picked 2 semi, favored sort of horses in the first 2 races. I had to go elsewhere in this one. So This was a good spot to take a shot. Because if a favorite wins here and I connect with maybe 1 or 2 of those first 2, then I'm still sitting okay, despite, what happens. I just can't miss. Basically, I'm putting myself in a position where I can't miss where a long shot would actually come in and score some points.
You got to make sure those are the right races where you spent a little bit up. And you got a little upside with Miss Parfait coming into a new barn. That's actually pretty good with new acquisitions. So they've had a few months now with this runner to kind of maybe tweak some things, get them in their own program, how they do stuff. Miss Parfait for Barry. Bree, where are you headed in race 3?
Okay, so I did go with the AE here. Now, full disclosure, part of the reason I went with the AE is I didn't love everybody else in this race.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, sometimes you can go with the AE to know that the horse most likely will get scratched. So my thought process was, if this horse gets scratched, then I've got time to choose and replace. Didn't happen. Obviously, I've got an hour and a half to edit anyways, but the horse is in. However, looking at the entire race, I still don't love any of them. So I'm probably going to stay with my 11 here. Now, the horse has early speed. So last time out won by 3.5 lengths, which it was a maiden. It was 5,000. The only thing I can possibly grab on is that it won by 3.5 lengths. Like, I know it was a maiden, it was 4.5, but this is a 5 furlong race. It still has early speed, and those were coming out of the 8 hole of 8. It's not as if it was coming out of the 1 hole or 2 hole. Like, the horse can close from the outside. Well, speed from the outside. So we're going to stick with it, mostly because I really can't replace anything in this horse with my other standing stable mates here. So we're going to stick with it. We're going with 11 Reawakened.
You know what? A lot of times, just one thing that there's not like a percentage because it's such a general stat that I'm going to throw out there. But in restricted races like this, I'm always looking for the lightly raced horses too, right? Like the horses that are lightly raced, they just have more upside. With some of these horses, you kind of know what you're going to get. And in StableDuel, that's okay because you only need them sometimes to do what they've done, finish second or third or fourth. But from a pure who do you want to win standpoint, if you're playing pick 4s and pick 5s and stuff, those are the races where you might be able to catch a horse who, yeah, maybe they look a little bit cheaper or they just won against softer and they're stepping up. But I always want horses with more upside than horses who are 1 for 20, 1 for 30, those type of horses who, they like finishing second and third. It kind of becomes a habit for them. So Bree to the outside with the 11.
To the outside.
As we continue along, let's get to race number 4 next. We're looking at the DRF past performances, DRF formulator. Shout out whenever I'm doing my handicapping. These are what I use because look at how easy it is. You can click on the race replays, the chart. You can click on the trainer stats. You can click on pedigree information, all right there. Boom. You don't have to get a bunch of different tabs up. It's right there for you. Makes it so much quicker and convenient when you're doing your handicapping. And the puppies agree. This is universally loved by humans and animals, DRF. So endorsements all over the place. Let's get to you, Bree, to start out race number 4. Who are you going to start with in this one?
I got to pull my stable back up.
Okay.
Okay, wait, no, I'm good. All right,
Okay.
So race number 4, so Valentina's Cupid. So this was one, seriously, 0, whatever. I ran out of money, so I had $250 to spend. So with the $250, I went back to look at field size, number 1, and then where hopefully I could find a closer field, like lower field, 6 horses, I think is race 4, right? It's shorter. There were 2 $250 horses. One of them had a ridiculous amount of starts and 0 wins. And Valentina had a lower amount of starts and like 1/3. So I stuck with that one, or gosh, I don't even know what I'm looking at. Valentina's Cupid had a 6. All right. Well, now I'm just making shit up on this live stream. But anyways,
winging it.
Bree, because I know you got to pop off in a minute. So
I do.
Before we let you go, we were lucky enough to get the first half, and I've got the rest. So when we go along race by race, I can mention who you like, and because you sent me your stable for each one.
Yes.
Happy New Year, and it looks like right now, big weekend coming up. We showed the schedule at the very beginning. I'll pump it again at the end. Gulfstream, Tampa, Santa Anita. Those are the big tracks that we've got a lot of games for. And I think there's even a free ride at Golden Gate this week. So tons of really big tracks and big games.
Yeah. And just something to note. So I think this is super important. Huge shout out to all of our players. Thank you so much for your support and sticking with us, in our first year and a half. Come January, February, we are going to have a ridiculous amounts of updates to our app, including live video. So you can go in the app and you can actually watch the race within the app as well. But also some DFS style, which I know has been, very much wanted by a lot of our players. So like the live, like what you're going to make if you're in this position, also what the percentage of ownership of other stables are of particular horses. So that is all coming. So please stick with us.
Awesome.
I know that there's been some frustration, like, trust me, like as the owners, whatever that, but guys, like, we're just so thankful that you all are playing. It's a very fun game. I wish I could play, which is why I have a mock stable. And one other thing to note. So the leaderboard competition is definitely going to happen in January. So if you're in the top 100 places, there will be a huge competition for you, just of you all. And then we're also going to work our way towards $50,000 guaranteed contest, most likely by end of March. So stay tuned for that. So practice, if you will. And it's going to be a big year. So think
about that time of the year too. Those will be when all those derby preps start coming
Right.
up at Gulfstream, at
Yeah.
Santa Anita, and then afterwards at Keeneland. So those will be some huge weekends with a lot of money on the line. And we'll probably have a lot of these live streams helping everybody get set up and filling their StableDuel lineups out. Bree, you're so busy. You got to get out of here. Thank you so much again for popping in with us. It was great to see you for a little bit. Happy New Year. And oh, yeah, you're going to see my name at the top tonight. I'm winning this thing.
I'm excited.
Sorry, Barry,
To see.
sorry. I love you guys, Matt, but you know what? It's me tonight, okay?
We'll see. Good luck, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks, Bree.
All right,
Awesome.
see ya.
Okay, Bree Mod checking out now as we continue on. So we're in race number 4. Barry, why don't you start us off here? Maiden $7,500 claimers, 5.5 furlongs.
Yeah, this is a really good race. You know, just betting wise and for StableDuel, because I think the horse that they made the morning line favorite is just suspect. The 8 Warriors Blade. The horse has every right to win on the drop, but I'm not too keen on a horse that's 0 for 18, 2 seconds, 2/3. Just kind of runs around the track, so to speak. I mean, I'm sure the class relief will be good, but again, the horse doesn't even look like, you know, she really wants dirt at all, like any part of the dirt. So I just don't think that horse is the one here. So I don't even think that horse is going to be favored actually when things end up shaking out come post time. But I ended up going with, back to your point where you were talking about lightly raced horses in a field where there's, I hate to say this, but a bunch of losers. Yeah. I mean, the 1 is 0 for 33. The 2 is 0 for 24.
Statistically, you're not even being mean. They've just lost races, right?
Yeah. So this is one I kind of thought about doubling up. I do like Dance a Little Jig.
Yeah.
I thought that first race was pretty decent. Slight drop here, should improve. And even that first figure, even though she didn't run all that great, she didn't run all that badly, she could improve off that and run a better race today than she did back on December 3rd. Considering what's left of the competition, the only other horse you could really look to, in my opinion, was the 5. As you ran pretty good up in Finger Lakes, comes down to Penn National, ran a pretty decent race going longer. In my opinion, this horse is probably going to be, I would say, probably about 7 to 5, 6 to 5-ish. Yeah. And is the most likely winner. But, if the 3 finishes seconds or happens to beat this horse, then we're in a good spot.
Yeah. So Dance a Little Jig is the 5 that we're going to watch in this race. This is not a bad effort from this horse first time out of the box. It really isn't. So Dance a Little Jig is, we're seeing as the 5, is going to hop at the start a little bit here and get kind of bumps around, and then is going to settle about 6th, like 6 or 7 lengths off. And it's 6 furlongs, first time out of the box. She was the only horse in that race that passed horses. She's going to get Lasix for the first time. And look, okay, that was just her debut. She's a 5-year-old mare. This was her debut. So she's obviously had some issues, right? It's taken her a while to get to the track. I think that race is going to really help her quite a bit, right? She's the type that I'm sure will need a little bit of foundation. And so I would not be shocked to see her improve quite a bit off of that. You add the Lasix in, you add the fact that this is not a very strong group at all. And there's just a good amount of upside with her. This was not a bad effort. There's not, like we say, there's no passing at all. She's the only one here that's making up any ground whatsoever from the back. Because that was her debut, she might be a lot faster. It wasn't like we've seen 5 races of her where she's been slow every time. We've seen 1 race from her where she kind of got bumped around and then was a little slow and actually did make up some ground. She might be sharper out of the gate now, kind of like, oh yeah, now this is what I have to do. So Barry and I are both on Dance a Little Jig. She's 8 to 1 on the morning line. She's only going to cost you $3,000, and you're going to need to find 2 or 3 races on this 9-race card where you're going to have to have a horse like this. That's like 3,000 to 500. You're going to have to find a couple of them because there are shorter fields here. So in some of those fields, you're inevitably going to have to spend up. You're just going to be forced into it. Barry, I think this is a great horse with some upside at 3,000 for us. Dance a Little Jig. Where are you headed in here, Matt?
Well, I'll make it 3 for 3 because that
Nice.
was also the horse that I identified in
Yeah.
the spot. I just really liked because again, I just had a lot of questions about a lot of the other horses. What I will say is just so we talk about another horse in the field, just to give some people options for the same price. Is a horse, the 7 horse False Ruling. This is a horse that's cutting back just a slight bit in distance and should get to the lead.
Yeah.
The best effort this horse has put in was 2 races ago when it got to the lead, faded a little bit down the stretch. But if this horse can get to the lead, I
At
don't
least
doubt that
hangs
this
around.
horse could get a piece. Yeah, this horse
Absolutely.
can get a piece and get you some green numbers
Yep.
on StableDuel. I mean, and that's the key. It's just avoiding red numbers, avoiding those negatives. And I think that's a horse in this field that can do that. Caprichosa is a horse I like, but I'm not going to put $8,000 on that horse.
No.
0 for 16 to Barry's point.
Well, I mean, and
you know.
Caprichosa and Dance a Little Jig come out of the same race. Caprichosa was right in front of Dance a Little Jig, barely. You
Right.
know,
Exactly.
So, and there's so much more upside and such less the cost with
Yep.
Dance a Little Jig. So,
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like we've all kind of sniffed out what win or lose might feel like the best value in this race, right? Win or
Yep.
lose, it's about building your stable as much as it is. And in this particular race, it feels like Dance a Little Jig at that price. That's probably the best play in this race.
I think the last time that we all agreed on a horse was Law Professor.
There
at
we go.
Santa Anita.
Yeah.
Or
And
was
that
it
paid out
Delmar? It was at
nicely.
Delmar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes me feel a lot better that
Which
we're
was
all
awesome. Law Professor won off the turf on just the other
Right.
day. Also,
Yes.
yeah, it's actually a very nice horse with some upside at the beginning of
Absolutely.
next year. Really, really nice one to keep an eye on. So,
Yep.
Cool. We're all on the same page. Let's hope we get the same result as we did last time. We go to race number 5 at Penn National as we get to the middle point of the card here. Got a little under an hour and a half to get your StableDuel lineups in, to get any wagers that you might want to play in on this Penn National Wednesday night card. Remember, there are $5,000 in prizes tonight in this pool. $1,700 to the winner for $25. And the top 25 all will double your money at least. The top 15 all make at least $100. So remember, in StableDuel, all your horses have to do is finish top 5 to get some points. You could have some races where, dang, you had the best horse in the race. They got in some trouble. They ran second. You're still going to get rewarded. You're going to have a race where I hate that favorite that everyone else is going to use. They lose. You're going to get rewarded. That's what's cool about StableDuel. You'll definitely get when you have a strong opinion, you are going to make some money. Matt, how are we going to make some money in this 5th race?
Well, I think this is a race where, I think we've all been kind of identifying some less expensive horses the last couple of races out. And I think this is a race where at least I'm probably going to go with the favorite in terms of mystery item, the 3-horse. This is one where I'm going to save up a little bit. This is a horse that has improving speed figures the last several times out, has stepped up in distance each of those times, has finished a very competitive second the last 2 times as well, particularly last time out to a horse like Sinise, who we might talk about a little bit later, who runs in another race on this card. So I just think this is a pretty good horse. This is a solid field, actually. This is I think a pretty good race. But I do think this is a good and improving horse. So that was the one horse that I thought, I don't often go for those $9,000 horses, but this was one spot where I felt pretty strong about that. And thought that, the other thing that was impressive to me was a lot of times you see a horse break their maiden and then they take a real step back the next race. This was a horse that broke its maiden, came right out and finished second by a head at a $16,000 claimer and followed up with another second. So also this is a horse that probably should be on the lead by itself. I don't know if there's going to be much other speed in this race. So for those reasons, that's why I'm going to go to the 3, which is a little chalky, but hey, part of StableDuel, you don't want to have $50,000 and not spend any of it. You got to spend it somewhere. So I'm going to go with mystery item here for the 5th race.
So the one, Barry, was reminding me of a combination of things. My son watches a lot of Blue's Clues, and Blue is a girl now, mind you. So my girl Blue is the girl dog. But also, I'm thinking of Will Ferrell in Old School. You're my boy, Blue. You're my girl, Blue. So I was like struggling with the both of those. I wasn't sure exactly where my mind was going, but you know what? Either way, I actually do think in this race now, there's a scratch of the 2. I'm going to double up in here. I did throw in the 1, My Girl Blue, because her only dirt start was good. She's going to just save all the ground and try to make one late run. She may be up against it a little bit here with the 2 social exclusions scratching. That probably would have helped and make up the pace a little quicker for her. But I do think mystery item goes. I think Enthroned will probably want to get a little more involved. And then Silver Lock is going to be forwardly placed, stretching out. So I'm just hoping the one, My Girl Blue, settles, comes rolling late, picks up some pieces. I'm going to go 1 and 6 now in this short field. And those are the 2 I'll use. I hope the 6 will just be more forwardly placed now and either sit second or third behind mystery item. How did you see this race unfolding, Barry?
I saw it the same way, but this was more of a strategy kind of play for me in this race. I under normal circumstances, I probably would never ever like this horse in this race. I wouldn't bet this horse to win, but I will use My Girl Blue in this race because I think basically that horse is better than the 5. And that's really all it came down to. And then you have the other 3 horses, Silver Locks, Enthroned, and Mystery Item. And typically, when you have a scenario where these horses have very similar running styles, 2 out of the 3 may run, but not all 3.
Yep.
And that's where, I had to choose between My Girl Blue and Nabruzi. And, Nabruzi doesn't look that bad. I mean, they kind of look similar, but I think, the first time on dirt kind of wake up was the key here for me.
Yeah.
So, at a smaller type price at 3,000, I can go with a horse here just to kind of get by.
Yeah. And then, I really love what you did there, because when you're playing a game like StableDuel, when you're playing like a DFS, that's a conversation you have to have when you're talking out with yourself or your friends or whoever. It's not always like, what's the most likely winner here, right? It's what's the best way to build this lineup. Those are different conversations. And this is a conversation, like Barry said, probably don't bet this horse to win. Probably not, playing this horse in other live money situations. But in a race like this with only 5 other horses, the other 3 are all in this really expensive tier that I just don't want to spend. And now it comes down to 2 horses. You start eliminating. It's like a process of elimination, and that's how you do. Like I do a lot of my handicapping sometimes too, where it's like, okay, now that they don't fit, they don't fit, but it's different when you're building a StableDuel lineup. I love just kind of hearing you talk your process out for that race. Cause that's the thing that I think we should always do when we're doing some of these streams like that. Let people know some of the process that we have for certain races. So good stuff there from Barry as we finish up with race number 5 at Penn National. Yeah, even some of those races for My Girl Blue, those grass races like at Kelowna.
Yeah, pretty classy. A little bit classy. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not bad at all in comparison to some of these. So, that horse at least isn't a bad animal and has shown some ability. And then boom, like you said, woke up on the dirt a little bit, and maybe there is more upside because of the fact that she's got a lot to improve on the dirt if she wants to. Let's get to race number 6. Start of your late pick 4 here. You've got about an hour and 15 minutes to get everything finished up in this 6th race. 6 furlongs on the dirt. Let's start with you here, Barry. Who are you looking at in race number 6?
I ended up going with Beyond the Bend. I just think this race is really competitive. And this is another one that I think this horse is going to have a nice running style in a race where there's enough speed. I like the post position, should have a good tactical advantage over the rest of these. Yep. First off, the claim for Brandon Culp, which is a really good angle. He's 30% plus. I just think this horse is in the right spot at the right time, and it's a nice go time. I want this horse to win.
Beyond the Bend, 5-1 will cost 6,000 in your StableDuel lineup. Matt, how are you looking at race number 6?
I'd love to disagree, but this was the first horse I put in my stable.
Nice.
This was the horse I just felt strongest about because it was a $6,000 horse that I thought was going to win. All the things Barry said, I absolutely agree with. The statistics in terms of coming off the claim, it was particularly noteworthy. I mean, you rarely ever see anything like that. This is a race that will not have a ton of pace, I don't think. And
No.
so I love the position that Beyond the Bend is going to be in there. And so I just think it's going to be a very competitive race, but Beyond the Bend shown it can finish in the money. It can win at this level. And so for $6,000, this was one where I thought was a really good bargain. And I wouldn't be surprised if this horse gets bet down considerably by post time.
Yeah, I'm going to spend up in this race a little bit. I don't mind going to Jumpmaster, the 7, who did legitimately have some trouble. So this was the last time we saw Jumpmaster, who was the 7 in this race also. And Jumpmaster we're talking a brutal trip. Was kind of boxed out of a tight spot early on. You can see right here, kind of squeezed back, and then moves down towards the inside and ends up getting like in that death spot inside where it could either be the best thing for you or the worst thing for you. And you're just rolling the dice, you're just waiting. You're at the mercy of getting some room, and you kind of get shuffled back, traveling well, nowhere to go. And then by the time he ends up getting room, it's too late. And he comes back on and he just missed second. See right here, he wants to go and he just can't. And everybody in front of him is getting to go and he's just kind of buried down inside, can't go. Now he's going to go third start off the long layoff. See, he's trying to find room, but it's too late. Now the horse, the 8, moves to the lead and it's pretty much over for him as he's still waiting, finally gets a little bit of room and ducks back down, but it's over for him. He's got no shot there. You're going to have a few races where you have to spend up. This to me was one that I think the chalk will run well here for what I'm spending up on. So Jumpmaster, going to jump around, jump. I feel like Barry, I should put my glasses on though if I'm doing that, right? Jump around, jump.
Put the glasses on.
I love it.
We move along to race number 7 here. 3 more to go on this 9-race card at Penn National. Thank you to all of you for hanging out with us on this Wednesday evening. A really fun contest that StableDuel has put together for this Wednesday where we can play for $5,000. And it definitely spiced my Wednesday night up a little bit. I handicapped this card. I get to hang out with a couple good friends of mine here and talk some races for an hour or so. Hopefully we can lead some of you in the right direction. Let's get to race number 7. Matt, who do you look at and who are you trying to put in your lineup in the 7th? We've got 16 non-3 claimers.
Yeah, so this was one where I looked at, this was a pace race for me. And so I think the 4, 5, and 6 are going to absolutely push the pace. And so I was looking at horses coming from behind that because I don't think if those 3 put pressure on each other, I don't think any of them have the wherewithal necessarily to wire the field. So because of that, I went with 1 horse, Gold Time Vixen, going off at 7-2. That was a horse I really liked. It's going to cost you $7,500. It's not quite chalk, but it's not exactly cheap either, but I still thought a good value. We were just talking about trainers who are good off the claim. This is another one where the trainer Demelza McMahon is winning 38% of horses off the claim, races off the claim.
And that's a big sample too, like a lot of times when we see like super inflated numbers in the bottom statistics, that's what's great because like you can, with DRF Formulator, you can click on any trainer and you can go and just customize those stats also. And you can really see even more. So you can say things like, trainer changes first after being claimed by, and you can apply that filter and you can get a massive sample size. Like out of the last 73 horses, they've won 20 times first start off the claim. Like if you're just blindly betting $2 on every one of them, you're making $2.74 back. Like you're doing very, very well. So that is a number that's really, really tough to look past.
Yeah, and if you just, the last race wasn't great, but if you look at the other races that this horse has run, and that was a race that, had about almost 8 weeks off between the two. So coming back on a little less rest this time out, I don't know. I just felt like the 1 Gold Time Vixen has shown to be competitive at this level, has shown it can win, place, or show at this level, hits the board 6 of the 11 times this year. This is a horse I just liked for that price.
Barry, who you heading to in race number 7?
Yeah, this is another one. A pretty good race where I think the chalk isn't so great. I ended up on the 6.
Mm-hmm. That was my
Yeah, just kiss my grits. I actually think that this horse might actually end up being Lone Speed, and that's what I'm hoping for. I think this horse is just quicker than the others, quicker than the 5. And if that horse gets good position, I still think that even if she loses it, she's still going to hang around
And what's
because
nice is you're drawn to the outside of the speeds too. Of
right.
all the
So
speeds.
there's she's got some outs,
Yeah.
alternate plans that could actually happen
Mhm.
if something were to go
Makes it
amiss or she not
easier.
break well. Right,
Mhm.
exactly. Forgiving, that she's parked on the outside, but that last race was much improved, and I think that this is the right level. So kind of messed around with state bred allowance, which looks to be over her head. This is probably the right spot.
Yeah.
I think this horse is a lot better than what the PPs are saying. But yeah, I'm fairly confident this horse is going to finish top 3, if not win it.
I hope that you're right in that Just Kiss My Grits gets the lead, because I actually want Best Cause to sit a little bit, the 4. That's where I'm going to go to the horse, who I think that she's better when she can sit just off like she did 2 starts back. And last time on December the 3rd, it was actually a really good effort. She broke in a bit. She ended up sitting second. She was about a length off. She moved to the lead in between horses. She tried hard all the way. She lost to a horse named Queen Rosemary, who's won 3 starts in a row now. Best Cause will be making her second start at Penn. She moves into a very, very capable barn. I think there are a lot of things to like about Best Cause. She's got a forwardly placed running style, so you're going to get a good run for your money with her, with what she's been showing as of late. But yeah, I don't think she's quite as quick as Just Kiss My Grits, and I hope that she chooses to sit off a little bit. So we go in 3 different directions here in race number 7. Best Cause for me at 5-1 will cost me $6,000 in my StableDuel lineup, and Just Kiss My Grits at 9-2 would be just a little cheaper for Barry, and at 7-2 for Matt. Matt will spend the most in this race on Gold Time Vixen, but nobody having to spend up all that much in here, as we're not a fan of the shortest price, Sinise. No Lieutenant Dan fans. I mean, Forrest Gump is a good movie, but not in this spot, Dan. Sorry. Other ways to go. Other ways to go. We get to the start of the late daily double in race number 8. And we will lead off here with you, Matt. We've got open 5 claimers going a mile. A couple scratches in here, though. I believe the 3 is out. Laddie Liam. The 4, Royal Coup, also out. And yeah, those are the scratches in here. So we are now down to a field of 5. And those are a couple big scratches, because those 2 horses were your second and third choices when building your StableDuel lineup. So this should be a nice race to know that, I'm not sure where you're going to land, but everybody else is going to be shorter prices. So that might be nice to spend on or spend a little less and get a bigger price, because, they'll probably go off at a shorter. How did you approach this race, Matt?
I like where your screen is. That's exactly where I went with Espresso Caliente. For kind of some of the same reasons. I just think this is a horse that once I looked at the scratches, I thought at 6-1 for $5,000 made a lot of sense. I think it's going to bet down from that significantly because of the scratches. Very consistent horse. Just always puts up really, consistent speed figures, which is something, again, when you're looking at these midweek cards at Penn, it's not uncommon to see a horse turn in like a mid 40, a 20, a 50, a 70, a 20.
All over the place.
And you don't know what you're going to get. At least with Espresso Caliente, I know I'm going to get between a high 50 and mid 60 speed figure from this horse.
Pretty consistent
every time out. Yeah. And, hits the board a lot. And for $5,000, that was kind of where I wanted to go in this particular race.
Barry, we going to get to race number 8, and all 3 of us are going to be right up towards the top of the standings, and we're going to really need to cash in these 2 races. So who do you want in your lineups in this 8th race?
I am on the same horse, Espresso Caliente. I just think this horse is going to get the trip. The 2 scratches actually benefit this horse even more. So, I mean, everything Matt hit exactly what I was going to say about this horse. I mean, almost word for word. So, yeah, I'm all aboard the Espresso Caliente train.
There we go. I like what you did there.
Yes.
Folks, you can find Barry here slinging those jokes of Wednesday night StableDuel live streams. Please tip your waiters. 2 drink minimum. 2 drink minimum when Barry's performing.
Hey-o.
I'm gonna go inside with the number 1, Built That Way, who's sort of the opposite kind of horse that you guys were saying. You're going for the more consistent. I think that Built That Way might have the best A game of the horses that are remaining in this field, but I don't know if I'm going to get that anymore. It's just a total kind of shot with Built That Way. And with the draw and the fact that he's got a little bit of speed, I at least think that's what we're going to get. I love the fact that we got a very good rider keeping the faith. So I'm just assuming the plan's got to be, hey, let's get aggressive. Let's try to get this horse in the race early on and either be, not on the lead, but just get him out of the gate and be sitting close. I'd love to see him sitting like 3rd in here and dropping in class. This will just probably be a lot softer spot from him. Last we saw, he was facing 12, 5, and 16 claimers, and now he's in for 5. So I'm going Built That Way, who's 5-1, going to cost me $6,000 in my StableDuel lineup, and a race where, I just don't think win or lose, like Breeze Burner is probably going to be the most likely winner of this race and with the scratches, but it just feels nicer to spend on other horses that are going to end up being shorter, than in this spot in my head, like the way I'm doing it. Like, okay, I'll pay for a 5 or 6-1 horse that'll probably end up being 7-2 in this case, and that's kind of what we're both doing here. So we go inside, outside, Built That Way, and Espresso Caliente. Okay, Barry. Once we get to the 9th, we're in the final race at Penn National. How do you want to close this thing out?
Yeah, this one was tough because the horses I do like, I was really on the fence about using 2 horses here. And wait, let me just check one thing. I want to make sure there wasn't any scratches in this race. I don't think there was. Oh, there was the Cal, right? The 2.
Out. Yeah, and it looks like what's nice about Formulator too, when you're logged in, they update these live. So the 11 didn't draw in at all. So yep, we got those 2 that are in. So now we have a field of 9 to close things out.
Because I had a feeling that Cal was going to scratch. And that was actually my original selection anyway, but I ended up going with Cumberland Gap as my top pick. I think this horse is, I don't understand why the morning line was so long.
I agree.
Because this horse kind of fits here very well. I mean, granted, a 10-year-old and kind of has a lot of seconds and thirds, but that might not be a bad thing, if you're in position early in this contest.
Nope.
And the other horse, which, when I was saying I was kicking around using 2, is the 1, Senior Ricci. Kind of the same sort of situation as the 9, but much lower odds. Cut in half actually. And I like the last race kind of going into this this level, the 4,000 non-winners of 1 in 6 months. Was bet down pretty good after being in a race that was I think it was 5,000 non-winners of 2, or actually non-winners of 3 or 4. Got bet pretty big there and kind of didn't run all that great, but didn't run that bad. I think Cumberland Gap has actually more of an upside. That would be a horse that I actually might play to win.
Yeah.
Even though these horses in general aren't the greatest at finishing races off. It should be a kind of a scramble towards the end, and I'm just hoping that Cumberland Gap is right around it.
Now, it feels like for Senorita Ricci, it's been quite of a comeback lately. Yellow Jackets, Christina Ricci, that show. I think she was also in The Matrix, I heard. I haven't seen that, but so after a while, I mean, fantastic back in the day, and like the likes of Casper, Now and Then.
Adam's Family, right?
Adam's Family, really great stuff. And now she's got, it's great to see when actors have like a time when they get really hot. And they're in 3 or 4 different things at once. I always love seeing it where it's like, this is another moment for Senorita Ricci. Maybe it's going to be the moment for Senor Ricci in the 9th for Barry. Barry, I like the 9 with you too. I'm on Cumberland Gap. What I really like about obviously, I think the price is great. I feel like this is just off. This horse feels like they should be half of that, more like a 5-1 shot than a 12-1 shot, and if I love when I see that in some of his last few races. So he's been facing 5,000 beaten claimers as of late, and now he drops into the $4,000 claiming level. So right off the bat, that should help. Look at the last couple times he was at this exact level. We see back-to-back runner-up efforts. And then in his last couple starts, you see against the odds and You Go Boy multiple times. You see against the odds back in July, then you see against the odds in November. You see You Go Boy and You Go Boy. I like that because it's just, hey, those horses
They're not here today. They're not here today.
They're just a little better than you. You don't have to deal with them. You're in a softer spot. And it's just like that form is consistent of his. He's just consistently shows up, kind of runs that same sort of race that we were talking about, which is not something you always get at this level, at these time restricted beaten claiming levels, you know? So for this type of a horse who's only going to be 750 and I think will end up going off at like 5 or 6 to 1, that's the type of horse I'm looking for in StableDuel all the time, just like this, you know? Matt, how do you want to close this thing out?
Cumberland Gap, baby. That was my pick as well. And so
I love it.
This is the law professor pick. We
the number 9 also.
Yeah.
It was in the 9 hole. It was great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It was in the 9 hole again the other day too. So the 9s have been
Yeah. No, this is I just think this horse is just completely improperly valued. And at 12 to 1, this is just a gift. I mean, you just run, you press this down on StableDuel, $750. Are you kidding me? Even if this horse doesn't win, not going to go far.
No.
And and again, when you put, Gino, you talked about it up top. You don't need to hit winners every single race. And in fact, you don't need to hit winners at all sometimes. I can't tell you the number of times I've entered a stable in a contest. I've hit maybe 1, 2 winners, but I end up in the money. Not because I'm picking great horses, but I'm not picking bad horses. I'm not picking horses that are getting me negative 30 points, negative 5 points, negative. I'm getting a bunch of 30s and 20s consistently race after race after race. For $750, are you kidding me? This is a horse that's going to guarantee you green points. So I like this horse quite a bit. I will say, just because I know, throughout the card, both of us or all three of us have kind of faded the favorite. Intercept here is just a classic favorite to fade, in my opinion, coming off a huge layoff. I just always stay away from horses like that.
Big drop, huge layoff. Absolutely.
Yeah. I just don't like it. I will say the other horse that I would consider to play, because you do have to double up. I actually kind of like the 4-horse Take It to Scale. This is a horse that's actually running second off a layoff, which is an angle I typically like, and has shown a pretty solid performance last time out at this level as well. So,
hey, I fit here. That's that kind of performance, right? This is where I belong. And now I'm kind of a measuring stick at this level. So you feel like there's a little upside built in. The difference between the 4 and, the favorite Intercept right next is that you got the race out of the way, right?
Yep.
And now you're worried with Intercept when a horse drops like that, like they just may not show up and they just may have some issues at these lower claiming levels. At least with Take It to Scale, we saw that, okay, cool, this horse has still got some ability enough to run a decent second at a similar level. So Take It to Scale and the 9 in race number 9 for Matt, and that will do it for us. Now you have a little less than an hour to get your stables in, to get your wagers in. Shout out to Mary, who was checking in earlier, said, thanks, Bree. Love listening to Bree. We all do. Bree is great. She's a star out there, and we're very happy that Bree was able to check in a little bit with us. Let me give you the rest of Bree's lineup because she sent it to me earlier. So for anyone out there who is interested, and I didn't give them to you as we went race by race, but I'll give them all to you right now. Picking up from the 4th race, she used the 11, the also eligible, and then the 4, Valentina's Cupid. She went with and in the 4th, she was also As You Were. 5th race, Nabruzi. The 6th race For the Moment, 7th Gold Time Vixen, and the 8th race Espresso Caliente. So a couple races she was with both of you, a couple with Matt also. Those are some of Bree's plays for tonight. She can't get in the contest, but she likes to make some and have fun and kind of see where she would stack up with us. Big night in at Penn National, less than an hour to get your entries in, to get your wagers built. Barry, tell everybody where we can find you and what you have coming up as far as content and stuff over the next few days.
Oh boy, kind of laying low, and actually going out to a few racetracks over the next 2 months. So I'll be out and about. So people, if you see me, you can come say hi. I'd love to meet anybody that watches, Gino's podcast or this web stream. Anytime you can come up to me and we can always talk horses. But normally I'm on the Big Monday show with Chuck Simon for the Going in Circles podcast. You can catch me on Twitter at Urban Handicapper, URBN Handicapper, all day, every day.
Matt,
Let's do
what's
this.
going on with you? And I was very lucky to join you last week on your show. We handicapped the opening day card for Santa Anita. There were some rain and some changes, but we still got into a lot of those stakes, and it was fun going race by race with you. What's coming up for you?
Yeah, we have a lot. So I do the Win Play Show, which is a podcast and YouTube show. You can find it on the podcast platform of your choice. Win Play Show on YouTube. Just press that subscribe button. You can follow me on Twitter at the handle @FailedToMenace. And I will say, Gino and I did very well last week at Santa Anita. I ended up coming in 5th place in the big $50 contest. So that was very nice to come through with. But this week, tomorrow, I have a podcast on YouTube that's coming out with the top 10 races of 2021. So looking back and kind of hitting the high spots. And then on Friday, I'll be handicapping the Saturday card at Santa Anita. Again, I always I put together a picks blog that go along with the podcast and show. And those picks blogs always include the StableDuel prices. So you can look over my top threes and see what combination of that, what permutation works best for building your stable and hopefully building yourself a winner. So always have some new content and love to collaborate with you guys. And I actually travel, we're have fingers crossed, but I'm hoping to come down to the Sunshine State and see Barry here in the next couple of weeks down at Tampa Golf Stream. So
nice.
Cool. I'll be jealous. You guys will have to have a cheers me from a beer from miles away if that's the case.
Yes.
And we'll definitely be linking up at some point. I'm very excited with Santa Anita starting. I'll be covering Santa Anita every day they race. I will have picks up on the Santa Anita website, also best bets, and then we cover them for That's What G Said podcast. We're going to do a lot of live stream stuff like this. We'll do a lot of them when they have big StableDuel contests over at Santa Anita. And then Sam Houston, January the 6th. That is one of my favorite racetracks to play. 12% takeout in doubles, pick threes, pick fours, and pick fives. So that's one track where like you can really play rolling doubles, rolling pick threes all the way through. And it's crazy to see how much more you get paid out with those low takeout wagers. I'm super pumped. This will be year 3 of partnership that I've had with Sam Houston. So a lot of Sam Houston, a lot of Santa Anita coming up. Gulfstream's going to be firing away. They're going to get their big days coming up soon. We'll have all that stuff for you on That's What G Said podcast and a lot of these live streams. Get your entries in and play, race, win. Barry, Matt, thank you guys so much for taking time out and good luck tonight.
Thanks, fellas. Good seeing you.
Folks, get on over. You have less than an hour now. Make sure to give StableDuel a follow so that way you can keep up to date with all of the big games, all of the big events. And good luck, happy holidays, and early Happy New Year.